Kids and cadets, welcome back to Tommy Time. I had spent some time on this Honda twin blade machine yesterday. I had picked it up with a Lawn-Boy. I gave $30 for both. I figured the Honda was worth $20. So yesterday I showed you how to remove the recoil because the recoil was sticky and not retracting. You remove these three 10mm bolts and spray some WD-40 or your favorite silicone spray lubricant in the back of the recoil and loosen it up. There's three 10mm bolts. So we did that. And then we tried some Happy Juice in the carburetor after I had drained the tank and drained the carburetor bowl. The fuel was very contaminated and out of date. This is what came out of the gas tank yesterday. So a lot of bad fuel in the tank. I did rinse it out. And then we tried a little Happy Juice yesterday, and I had mentioned that it seemed to be pulling over easy. We did not get any action out of it at that point, so I went ahead and took the valve cover off and noticed the intake was not closing. It was stuck in the open position. Prior to that, I had thrown a compression gauge on it and realized I had 0 on the compression. So either the exhaust or the intake valve was sticking. It happened to be the intake valve. You never want to see 0 on your compression test or your checking account or your heart rate monitor. Those are all taboo zeros. You don't want those. So I rectified the intake. I had taken the keeper off and the spring and used these needle nose vice grips. Grabbed the end of the intake valve and started moving it back and forth and twisting it. After the fact, I did a Google search about sticky intake valves on Honda, and actually in 2010 there was a service bulletin put out by Honda that if you leave old gas in the unit, the intake valve becomes gummy and it sticks in the open position with all the ethanol gumminess. It inhibits the valve action, so I was surprised to see that they actually put a service bulletin on that same issue. Their way of rectifying it was to take the carburetor off, take a heat gun and blast hot air into the intake while you slowly manipulated the intake valve back and forth to liquefy that gum that builds up. I didn't have to go to that extreme, just the vice grip and turning the valve in 360 degrees and back and forth loosened it up. So at that point I put everything back together. It got to be too dark to mess with it last night. So in the meantime I have taken the carburetor off, cleaned the carburetor out, put it all back together again. Hopefully all the linkages are where they need to go. I have the fuel valve on. There's no leaking of the bowl, so I think we're ready to give this thing a try. See if it's going to start. It's been kind of a pain in my butt for the last couple days. I was not expecting a sticky intake valve, but those are things you come across. So this is an automatic choke. Let me pull on it and see if this thing is going to start. I'm going to let it warm up and see if the choke opens up. Otherwise, we have some jetting issues here with it surging. Okay, still not 100%, but at least we got it to start. It's got compression. We got to go back into the carburetor and figure out what the deal is. I was not able to get the main jet out. It was in there pretty good. I did the best I could with a bread wrapper trying to clean it out. I did use carb cleaner and blasted it out with some compressed air. So we still may have an issue with the carburetor being plugged up. Anywho, just for the fun of it, I'm going to see if it's going to start on its own for a second time. Okay, it seems to be running better under a load. I engaged the blade to see what it would do. It seemed to smooth out. So I also engaged the self-propelled, and that did nothing. So we've got a secondary issue with the self-propelled unit not engaging. This is rear wheel drive, so I'm going to mess with that, turn it on its side and see what the deal is. I may have a broken drive cable. This thing's kind of rusty on the cable works. It's been sitting outside. The drive cable may have an issue. It may even be broken. So, got some problems, $20. I don't know if it was such a good deal running into all these secondary issues. So we'll mess with it some more. I appreciate you kids and cadets coming out and checking out Tommy Time. I'll have some more videos coming up. Come back and see me, and please like and subscribe. I appreciate you kids and cadets. Have a great day today.